Everything is okay. Welcome back, alchemists. This is the Wealth Principles, Wealth Principle 33. Wealth Principle 33, if you've never been on the Wealth Principles, is one of my favorites. In fact, I talk about it all the time. This is build your business to sell your business and profit. Now, at first, people hear this Wealth Principle and they say, no way, the whole point of building your business is cash flow. We want cash flow. The easiest way to get cash flow, the best kind of cash flow, is when you're invested in somebody else's business and they're doing all the work. That's what creates passive income. Who's heard of passive income before and wants some? Oh, yeah. Who wants to get that passive income and do less work? Hands can if that's true for you. Excellent. Excellent. So in order to get there, we build a business. We build the business. If you don't have any money, if you have money, buy a business. Hands can if you're catching this. We buy or we build. Absolutely. So Wealth Principle 33 was not designed by me. I didn't come up with it just like any one of the other wealth principles. They are not my idea. I simply distilled them down from the other books that I was reading, the coaches I was taking, the experience that I had from building multiple businesses. And as I put it all together, I was out in Las Vegas. Who's heard the story? I went out to Las Vegas 2018 with a bunch of books, with all my notes from all the different coaching programs I've been through. And I distilled it down to 100 and something bullet points, 100 and something tips, strategies, principles. But I wanted something that I could use, something that I could use every single week, a principle that I could focus on so I could do one thing a week. And I knew that would be 52. And so I had to break some of these apart and tie them in together. And Wealth Principle 33 is a perfect example of one of those things that had to be combined. It's really two micro principles built into a solid principle. Build your business to sell your business and get rich. It's two. You must build a business to sell your business to get rich. If you have a business right now, but it's not saleable, we're going to talk about that today. Hence, if you want to learn how to sell your business for a maximum profit, how to evaluate your business, how to know what it's worth, how to increase its value, that's what we're going to talk about in Wealth Principle 33. So this principle came to me. I remember exactly the moment that I was hearing it. I was in an event called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. For those of you who don't know, I was completely broke at the time. This was pre-writing the book, broke to $250,000. This was in the broke stage. I went to this event after reading the book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Anybody read that book before? Heard of it before? T. Harv Eker. Excellent. So he wrote the book. I read the book. And in the book, there was this thing he said in it. He said, at my Millionaire Mind Intensive, my 3-day event, I walk you through a process. And at that point, I pulled out my phone and I started Googling. I said, my God, this book is like 9 years old. I hope he still does this. Has anybody ever felt that emotion of like, I hope this person hasn't given up on helping people? So I was sweating. And I Googled it and I found one. I found one in Boston. And so I went and I said, okay, it's free, right? He said I get there for free. And then I found the free link and I went to the event. Now I showed up to the event scared. I showed up to the event nervous because it said Secrets to the Millionaire Mind, and the event was called Millionaire Mind Intensive. Now, even though I'd read the book and I knew he wanted to help people, I, in my head, assumed everybody in the room was going to be more successful than me because the name of the event was Millionaire Mind Intensive. So I get in there. I'm in my best, dressed up at the best I could, right? A suit that doesn't fit, but I was still wearing a suit. I was, buttoned up. And I get in and everybody looks like a rock star. Everybody looks like they're a millionaire already. They're all dressed in their finest dresses. They're in their suits. And I'm realizing, oh my God, I am the least successful person in this room. And so I quickly take the little notebook they give me. I run over to my seat. I sit in the middle of the room. I don't quite sit anywhere close to the front. I don't quite sit in the back. I'm 2 rows from the back. Hands can if you've ever been that guy, sat towards the back. So I was that guy. And I sat down in the center. I didn't look at anybody. I just looked straight at the speaker, straight at my notes, and I took feverish notes the entire time. Super intense because I knew I didn't belong in this room. I knew that I was worth less than everybody else in the room because I was going through a divorce at the time. And I wasn't worth zero. I was worth less than zero. So it felt very worth less at the time. And sweating, taking notes feverishly, feeling like I was stealing from the speaker, feeling like I was taking advantage of him by getting all of his secrets, all of this knowledge that didn't belong coming to me. And I remember on the 3rd day after going through all these experiences, I cried. It was emotional. I had to forgive my parents. I had to forgive some people growing up with. I had to forgive my spouse. I had to forgive myself. There was so much stuff that I had built up from the years of just, bad existence. And he said from the stage, I felt he was looking right at me. He said, There's not enough teachers out there. There's not enough trainers teaching people how to build wealth. And he looked at us, he said, if you have it in you to follow these steps and do what I'm teaching you here, then I want you to be on this stage doing this for other people, because I won't be doing it forever. And that hit me so hard. I took that as a commitment. I said, you know what? I stole all this information from you today. I'm going to maximize everything you've given me. And once I do, I'm going to share it with as many people as I possibly can. I'm going to take all this information. I swear to God, I will do whatever it takes to do everything that you've told me to do today. And one of his principles was that you build your business to sell your business and profit. And at the time, I could not understand that principle. I couldn't understand, but I wrote it down anyway. And it wasn't until years later that it finally made sense to me. Who here knows that the richest people on the planet have sold their businesses? Think Mark Zuckerberg, think Bezos, think Elon Musk. These are people who only own 6, 7, 17, 20% of their companies. And yet they're still the richest men on the planet. Warren Buffett, right? All the Sam's Club kids, not Sam's Club, Walmart kids, right? Those 4 people, like, they're super rich because most of their company is owned by other people. We're catching this, how this works. You got to sell your business to get rich. But first, you got to build your business. Now, let's dive into the 6 steps. Every week, I like to do exercises. So we're going to do an exercise this week. And this exercise comes with a series of steps. And these steps, if you follow them appropriately, you will have success. If you follow them to a lesser degree, well, results may vary. We understand that you have to follow everything precisely to the T in order to get the results that are promised. Yes? Excellent. So wealth principle 33 is start your business to sell your business and get rich. Here are the 6 steps. Let me see. And can you see it on the screen now? Yes? All right. So here are the 6 steps to building your business. Step number 1. Get a professional evaluation. You may say, well, I don't have much of a business, or I've only just started. Get it evaluated. You need to have a firm foundation, and the coach, the evaluator, is going to tell you what this thing potentially could be worth. Step 2. Organize your financials. Now, in this evaluation, they're going to tell you, they're going to ask for 2 things. What did you do for sales this year, last year? And then what are you projected to do for sales coming up? They're going to need that information. So that now that you've gone and gotten your appraisal, now you know what questions they ask on the appraisal. Hence, Karen, if that's making sense. Once you ask, yes, it's first step, second step. Organize your financials according to what they suggest. Then step 3, my favorite step, increase your sales. A business is based on its profits. It's based on how much it makes. So once you've gotten an appraisal understanding, the second step, you get your financials put in order. The only thing to change here is sales. You must increase sales. Hence, Cam, if you're already focused on increasing your sales, already doing it. Awesome. Smart room. Step number 4, time your exit. Time your exit. Now, there's a saying, you can't time the real estate market, but you can time your business, right? Don't wait to buy real estate and wait. Don't wait to get into the stock market, get in the stock market and wait. This is a philosophy of investing. With a business, year 4 is a very good year to sell because most businesses last 7 years. So if you get to that 6th, 7th year, you're going to have a really good big business, but you might be puttering out. Your staff might be puttering out. There's only a handful, we call them the S&P 500. There's only a handful of businesses that really make it to that 25-year mark. In fact, the aristocrats of the stock market, the aristocrats are companies that have consistently provided a dividend that has gone up every single year for the last 25 years. There's only a handful of aristocrats in the stock market. Out of 7,000 stocks, only a handful. Hence, can be recognized, most businesses just don't last. This is just truth. Now, year 1 sucks. I'm not going to lie to you. Year 1 is education. Year 2, you should have some systems built. If you really took your business seriously, you should have some systems built. You should certainly be profitable. You should be profitable in year 1. You should be profitable in year 2. You should be profitable in year 3. There's no excuse to have a year without profit. The only people who have years without profit are people who aren't thinking about profit first. We're catching this? That's silly. That's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Sell your product before you build or create. It's another one of our wealth principles. Timing your exit, understand that year 4 is a great year, because year 3, you really are slamming. Year 3, you've got systems built. You're really rocking and rolling. You know what you're doing. In year 4, you scale like a monster. In year 4, you're just adding that one client, that one component, because by year 3, you've got managers in place. Everything is scalable. We're catching this. Year 4 is a year to explode. That's also the year to lock down the sale. It makes a lot of sense to lock down a sale in year 4. Year 5, step 5, I'm sorry. Find a third-party business broker. You can absolutely sell your business to a friend. Totally do that. That's called selling off market. Who here knows off market's how we find deals? It's how we find discounts. Oh, you're not seeing my screen. Sorry, guys. Step 5, find a third-party business broker. The reason we do that is because we make more money when we sell on market. We buy off market, we sell on market. When you buy businesses, you buy off market, you sell on market. Just by getting more exposure, you make more money. You increase the value that you're going to be able to get for the property, for the business. Step 6, qualify potential buyers. You've heard in this business, buyers are liars, right? We hear in real estate, well, it's the same thing in business buying. Are they actually capable of closing? Do they actually have the experience? Do they actually have good credit? Do they actually have the ability to go and get a business line of credit to close on this deal? Seller financing makes it a lot easier, but think about it. This is your business. This is your baby. Are you going to sell this to a schmuck who just because they showed up and they got a pulse? You want to sell to someone who's going to take care of your employees? So you're going to take care of your clients. You want to make sure that this business that you're selling lasts, right? And especially if you're doing seller financing, there's a chance that you might have to take this thing back over in the future. So you want to make sure that everything that you're doing is operating properly. Hence the camera, if that makes sense. And can we mute Julie Bradley? Right now her microphone, for whatever reason, is popping on and off. Actually, Amy, can I make you a co-host? Where is Amy? There you go. You're a co-host. Ron, you're a co-host. If we can just make sure everybody's mics are muted. So the 6 steps. These steps are things you could take action on now. Right now, you could go out and you could handle making sure that your business is evaluated. Hence, Karen, if you know you could do this, even no matter what level you're at, except for Dorian, right? She's got the business is still kind of in the infancy stage, not created. So if you haven't actually started a business, then maybe not. But you can still call up an appraiser and ask for what is the standard process of getting something appraised. We're catching this standard process of the business I'm planning on building. Call up an appraiser and say, hey, what information would you need from me? And then tell them 6 months from now, I'm going to call you to go and get my business appraised based on whatever I do in these next 6 months. Who's watched the Millionaire, Undercover Billionaire with Grant Cardone and Glenn Stearns, like these guys? Who's watched it? Anybody? Anybody? All right, here we go. My champions. In that show, they're getting businesses appraised 90 days in. 90 days into the game, they're getting their businesses appraised at $1 million, at $5 million. Come on, step up your game. Step up the goals. If you understand how a business is valued, then you can go and build a valuable business versus just a business that pays you a couple $100, right? Who here knows a couple people who are just working hard to make like $4,000 or $5,000 a month in their business or less than that? Anybody know a few people? Not saying anybody on this call, but we know people of that who do that. I know a lot of people who say they just want $10,000 passively a month. That's great. That's a great goal. You know how to get that? You go and get 10% return on investment or 12% return on investment on $1 million. That's going to get you $10,000 passive every single month. Hence, if you know somebody out there is going to give you 10%, 12%, absolutely. Who here would pay 10%, 12% for money to invest on a loan on a property? Anybody? Yeah, there's a bunch of people in here. Absolutely. So as we're going forward, lining up towards the summit, we've got 34 days to the 100 Millionaire Summit. As we get closer, I want you thinking about building your business to sell your business and profit. You may find business buyers at the summit. Hence the camera, if you would buy a cash flowing business, if it made sense, and if they seller financed it. Oh, yeah. So you may find business buyers sitting in the room on the side of you, maybe in the front, because I know my VIPs are business buyers. All of my VIPs are thinking about buying cash flowing opportunities in the front of the room. And then the executives sitting behind them are also players who are either having successful businesses or are looking to buy and acquire more cash flowing opportunities. Hands if you want more cash flow in your life. Anybody? Am I the only one who just loves getting cash flow? Oh, hell yeah. So we've got some cool stuff for the VIPs. As we get closer to the summit, the swag starts coming into the house. And I found this one. I've been using this at the gym lately. So walking to the gym, these are bags. Our VIPs are getting hooked up, but like people don't buy VIP tickets just for the sweet swag. Look at the 2022 shirts. Certainly not the reason that a person would jump into a VIP ticket. It certainly has nothing to do with the fact that their lanyard is totally different. By the way, here's the executive lanyard, right? We got the yellow, very cool, very sexy. Then we got the standard general tickets, general seat in here. But I love what we got here for the VIPs. It's just so cool, right? Who recognizes people don't buy VIP tickets for the lanyard? They don't buy it for the bag. They don't buy it for the shirt. No, of course not. They don't buy it because they get to sit in the front row in the splash zone, high-fiving the speakers on stage, right? The reason a person gets the VIP ticket is because they know inside their soul that they are a very important person. That's what VIP stands for, right? A very important person. Now, everybody on this call is a very important person, but the VIPs, they know something special. They know something different. They know something that everybody else in the room doesn't know. They know that they've got that money and it's coming back to them so easily that VIP makes sense to acquire. They also know that everybody else in the VIP row spent that same amount of money to be in the VIP row. Hands to cam if you know what I'm talking about, right? Everybody sitting right there side by side, they're like, dude, this person's a hustler. They believe that they're a very important person. Each one of us up here, I found out from Dorina, we were thinking it was going to be 30 VIPs, but we actually only have room for 25 because of the way the venue is set up. Possibly I can squeeze out. I think we can squeeze out to 28, but we can only go so far with our rows. Hence, can't recognize there's only a limited amount of front row. Right, you can't make more front row once you're out of front row. The room's only so wide. So I thought we had 30. I apologize. We have less than that. I think there's only 12 left, less than 12. There's 10 left. Dorina knows. So reach out to Dorina if you want to get into the VIP. One more reason for the VIPs. This is the special thing. All day Thursday. Who knows they're showing up on the 21st? Registration is the 20th, late at night registration. Well, the VIPs show up on the 20th early in the morning on Thursday. And they're in a room with me, just me and the 25 VIPs. And we're going to be talking about scaling their business. In fact, we're going to be going so deep on Wealth Principle 33. We're going to talk about how to actually sell their business, how to evaluate and get it to that point where it's capable of being sold, how to get managers in place, how to scale up. And if they don't have any management, any scale, we're going to talk about that structure and lock that into place so they can put it in the next 3 months, so that 3 months from that point, they'll be able to evaluate their businesses of more than $1 million. Hence, Cam, if you know, the VIPs know something that everybody else doesn't know. It's that their business is valuable. Their business is meant to be sold. And so the VIPs, we're going to be working on Thursday, planning and preparing to be able to sell their businesses, putting that plan into place. And then they're going to attack the 100 Millionaire Summit like sharks, looking for the people who are either going to buy their businesses, sell them businesses, or become a part of their businesses. Hence, if you know, it takes partnerships to scale a business also. Yeah, so the VIPs are players. They're players. So I don't want to brag too much, but these are all people I'm going to be hanging out with very closely over the time with the summit. Me and the other coaches also. I got a billionaire who's going to hang out with us and have a VIP dinner with us. Who knows Vinny Chopra? Has heard of Vinny Chopra? Knows the guy who knows all the syndication stuff and super positive guy, always smiling. I wrote the book, Positivity Brings Profitability. But he also wrote Apartment Syndication Made Easy. See, it says $250 million portfolio. That number is now $700 million is the value of his portfolio. And it's if you want to have dinner with Vinny Chopra, just hang out with him for a little while. Dinner's on me. For the VIPs, I'm paying for dinner. And Vinny's hanging out with us. Mitch is hanging out with us. Mike will be hanging out with us. All the coaches will be hanging out with us for dinner Anybody who can make it. And then we've got our VIPs. We've rented a very special limo to bring the VIPs all the way over to the restaurant. Hence, Cam, if the VIPs sound like they're having a VIP experience. That's because Darina's been hanging out with Grant Cardone. She's been going to his events, and the 10x ladies, she's like, you know what we could do? You know what we should do? What we should really do is level up our game and really take care of our VIPs so they feel like very important people. So VIPs are going to be a lot of fun. The executives sitting right behind them, a blast. Who's checked out the new website, by the way? Go to 100mmsummit.com. Go check this out. Darina has been like working very, very hard on making sure. And when I say very hard, I mean, you know, I'm always talking about like, don't work hard. Darina doesn't listen to me in like a lot of things that I suggest. So she's been pushing so hard, not just myself, not just herself, but the team. And she even got updated. We got Sam Prim's up here now. Heidi's looking beautiful today, which, by the way, who here knows Heidi? Heidi Rain. Oh, she's going to be at the summit. And I got her in today, which is amazing. Like, I actually, in my screen, I can see Doug and Heidi side by side, which is awesome. Because here they are. Beautiful, successful couple, power couple. And then when you scroll down, this is what she updated. She updated all the stuff that the VIPs are getting. She pimped it all out. Let's give Darina a big round of applause. I'm very impressed with the work she and the team have been doing on making sure that all of this is taken care of. You'll notice VIP's price went up today, the valuation of it, because now we're including 5 tickets to the general seating. We're including the exclusive Thursday leadership call, conversation with us, 12 months of the mastermind. We threw in the mastermind. That way VIPs get to hang with me all year long. Hence, Camp, you know, I like to go deep in relationships. Yes, I don't like shallow. That bothers me. So, but I also only have a limited amount of time, limited amount of relationships I can have. So the way I said it is, if they believe in us enough to sit in the VIP, then I believe in them enough to hang with them throughout the rest of the year. Hence, care if you want to hang with the VIPs. Me too. Exactly. These are the killers. Come on. These people believe in themselves. They're going to the next level. VIP dinner, $600. Yeah, I got the bill. Don't you worry. I'm floating that one. And then the VIP front row was already a $5,000 ticket. It was already $5,000. The VIP 4-day access already $4,000. This, you know, ridiculous. Same with the executives. The executives, we went to the nines with this. It comes with access to the jumpstart, access to bring a guest, and you get a little bit of seating right behind the VIP. So we're giving that's a $2,000 value. That one, that's as valuable as you think it is. Hence, care if you think sitting behind the VIPs is valuable. All right, you know, hey, it's up to you. It's your valuation on it. We just happen to throw a number, but today it's $2,000. Who's paid $2,000 or knows people have paid $2,000 just for the membership alone? Oh yeah. So with this, 2 tickets to the executives, 2 accesses to the Jumpstart program, the mentorship program. So whoever you want to be there with you when you're going through the Jumpstart, this is the time. By the way, if you've already been through the Jumpstart, it doesn't hurt to go through it again. I know Melanie Santos been through it like half a dozen times. Jen Sullivan's been through it a dozen times. Amy McMurray's through it again. Andrews McMurray's through it again. There's a lot of people who've gone through it multiple times because it works. By the way, I'm totally, I feel like I'm selling right now. Hands care if you feel the sale. Yeah. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. We've been working very hard to build millionaires. You know, we're on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. I realized at some point I couldn't do it alone. I realized, like, yeah, you know, like I'm good. You know, I think every coach in the world thinks they're good. But I realized that even if I was great, even if I was the greatest, even if I was the best of the best, I was still only one person. I was still only one person with one set of stories, one set of skill sets, and it was going to take a lot more help in order to build as many millionaires as I wanted to build, because I knew that 100 was a small cap. I thought, give me 3-5 years, I'll build 100 millionaires. What do I do after that? Once we started getting close, I said, I'm going to have to scale this in some way. And then Vinny Chopra messaged me and he said, I think we could go for 1 million millionaires. And I was like, Vinny, I was scared when he said that. I'll be honest, because I knew he meant it. I was like shaking a little bit. I was like, yeah, let's do 1 million. Anybody ever give like a half-assed, yeah, I'm in? I half-heartedly was like, yeah, let's do that. And then like I got off the phone, I was dizzy. Like I was like, oh my God, like how do you even do it? How do you do that? And it came to me later on from talking to Darina. that maybe I couldn't do it alone. Hence, can't feel recognize even your wealth, you're building what you're building, you can't do it alone. It might take some help. So we started bringing on help, and we started sharing our whole platform, sharing our clients together, sharing our skills together. And building Alchemist Nation was something we did this year, but this was something we've been working on for the last 3 years as we've been building Millionaires, building this process. Alchemist Connect was something that just happened in June. Finally, Ron and I have been working on building a CRM for 4 years, since 2018. We had our initial CRM for real estate agents, and it wasn't robust enough. It didn't do everything that they wanted it to do. And so we ended up discarding that and moving into other programs. This is a long-term vision. If you want to be successful in business, in your relationships, just in your physical body, you've got to make long-term commitments. You've got to decide to make long-term commitments. And then sometimes those commitments don't stick for some reason. Has anybody ever made a commitment and said, yes, I've decided I will be successful and I'm going to go do this thing, and then you don't do it, right? Maybe we know people who've been through that. It's because of something called self-sabotage, where we don't follow through with the things that we say or we know we should do. And fortunately, we know somebody who's really good at fixing this. Fortunately, if you were at the summit last year or you've hung out with Alchemist Nation long enough, you know that there's a professional, there's a specialist out there who is the specialist for fixing this self-sabotage problem, this challenge of not doing the things that we know we're supposed to do. Is anybody interested in hearing a little bit from our resident specialist, the person, the woman, the myth, the legend? Let's give it up for, actually, before we give it up, it looks like Doug's already unmuted his mic. So Doug, would you like to introduce the great Heidi Rain?
No, that's not why I unmuted my mic. Please go for it.
Let's give Doug a round of applause. All right. So if you don't know her, she crushed it at the summit. Her talk was rated in the top 2 talks. Yes, I still believe that Mitch's light show, really gets people excited, but it was what Heidi said in her talk. It was the passion she brought. It was the information. It was the knowledge that she brought to the table, where people in the room could connect with something they'd never connected with inside of them. And I think that was one of the reasons that Alchemist Nation, this community, exploded so hard this year and was able to grow so fast because of what you were able to release in them. So let's give it up for Heidi Rain, our today's speaker. Cheers. Heidi, what can we expect at the summit?
Well, listen, so this morning, I'm a firm believer in letting the right talk arise, right, by itself. And I've been doing a lot of contemplation and a lot of just sitting with waiting for the right talk to arise. And I think it has. So I am so excited for this opportunity to share with you. At the beginning, Walter, you said that you're like a synthesizer. You take all the information that you find and you boil it down to what you believe people need to know. And I have had a lifetime of overcoming my biggest critic, which is my inner critic, a lifetime of overcoming abuse and dysfunction and everything in my life. Like, if you were there last year, that has attempted to drown me. That old saying, everything that drowned me taught me how to swim. So I look at all these things that have come together to make, what is this really, this concept? Well, it's becoming unstoppable. If you don't succumb to your own self-sabotage, you're unstoppable. You're unshakable. You're able to create the life with no real obstacle. It becomes more ease and flow. But there are 5 things that we need to know in order to live a life of flow and ease and grace. And that is the way of the warrior entrepreneur. And I am so excited to bring you, I was meditating on this morning, I was contemplating it, and I got excited by what came out. Now, it's not always for me. When you're living in this kind of collaborative space with the universe or God or whatever you call it, that you get a transmission, and I surprised myself with what came through. Okay, I was reading, I was like, oh, that's good. Oh my God. Oh, I want to hear that. Yes, I need to hear this. And anytime that you're going to give a talk like that, you want it to be something that you want to listen to, right? So I'm really, really excited. So I didn't prepare this morning to come and talk with you. I wanted to see what arose, what came up, and how I could serve here this morning so that we have a clear understanding of what's to come. If that's a question on somebody's heart or mind, or Walter, if you have questions, I'm happy to answer, but I didn't plan something for you this morning.
I love it. Let's give Heidi a big round of applause. She's in line with the universe, which means I got questions and I'm getting answers. So, Heidi, I know last year you really dove deep into self-sabotage, and that was one of the words that once I started hearing it around the room. Like as we were like walking through the room, I was hearing people say, like, man, like Heidi's talking, like people were crying, like tears were shed, and people were communicating with me that like they just were so aware that, oh my God, like the demons inside, like it was actually me, but also the solutions inside. What are some of the cues that I know you're going to give a lot of more deep depth at the summit? What are some of the cues that a person might be self-sabotaging? Like what are some of those hints?
You're not there. You're not getting there. You're not there. When you're self-sabotaging, it's really tempting to put the blame outside of yourself, right? So the minute that we say, well, how do I know if it's self-sabotage or if it's legitimate, obstacles that are in my way? Whenever we take this warrior path, the first thing that we do on the path is we assume 100% responsibility for our life, for everything in it, for all obstacles, for all overcoming. And there's a hint that you're self-sabotaging because you notice that you have a lot of blame. You have a lot of blame. You tend to blame your circumstances. You tend to blame your rearing, your parenting, the examples that you had. You blame the market, you blame the opportunity, you blame anything outside of yourself is a form of self-sabotage. Now, do I want you to be a glutton for punishment and self-abuse and get into this thing where like, well, I'm responsible for everything, so I suck and I've got to, no, but that personal responsibility is step one to empowerment. And then when you realize that everything that you think is an obstacle is a construction of your own mind and your own belief system and the things that you've subscribed to, maybe not intentionally, but certainly subconsciously, we all are running a program. We wake up into a family dynamic or into a generational dynamic, and we read the script, man. We read the script and we go, how do we do this play called life? And then we learn our characters and we learn our roles and we fall into these things. And it's easy to keep the blame outside of us and say, well, that's the way I grew up, or I never learned this, or it's too hard for me, or people like me don't, or people like me have a harder time with, or nobody understands me. And we get stuck in that loop. And until we can say, it is all up to me, the way that I think, the way that I feel. Now, are there some things out of our control? Is the universe a catalog? Is everybody on this call going to be a millionaire? No. I'm going to tell you right now, because here's the bad news. There are lots of people that want to be a millionaire, and that's their will. That's their willpower. They have the will to do it. They have the will, but the will does not meet the skill. There are people that want to do it, but they don't have the character that it takes to actually do it. So the will is there, but the character is not there. And then there are other people where the character is there, the discipline, the drive, all of the things they need to master, but what's not there is the will. They don't want it. And then there's another element here where a warrior is where your skill and your will, those things, your skill and your will align with your personal destiny, meaning you want it and you're capable of it. Is everybody capable of it? No, not everybody is capable of it. And the reason for that is because some people are sheep and some people are lions, and you have to know your nature. So it's not necessarily the millionaire, the money, it's the path that you take to get there. Some people are not on the right path for them. They're wired like, there's nothing wrong with a sheep and there's nothing wrong with a lion, but you have to know your nature and respect your nature in order to take the right path to get to where it is that you want to go. Because some of the things that you're hearing aren't resonant with you. They don't align with your true nature. It's not something you're going to do. You're not going to go out and create a community. You're not going to, but you might be in somebody's community and make a big impact within that community and contribute within that community. You have to know, and that's what we're going to talk about at the summit, is what is your true nature and how do you align that nature to be in alignment with your will and your skill? And then it's effortless. Then you're in this kind of like flow state where making money is easy. And not just because it's passive, but because it's in a flow state. It's aligned with your true nature. It's aligned with what you're naturally gifted at. It's aligned in all those areas. And so everybody has the potential within them, but not everybody develops the character that they need to see it through. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about, is that character. And one of the hardest things about character is looking inward. You have to be willing to take personal responsibility. And that shift in mindset is a humongous shift for most people, because it's easier to look outside of yourself for motivation. Oh, Doug's going to pump us up. Outside of yourself, which he's the best of the best, outside of yourself for permission to do the thing you want to do, outside of yourself for help along the way, that someone's going to hold your hand, versus an internal decision, an intrinsic motivation. It's all up to me. And I need to make a commitment to this path of mastery if I am going to reach that status. Walter came on, we created a group not too long ago, 3 years ago, we created a group. It's now called Mission Driven Entrepreneurs. And I can't remember what it was called at the time. And, my nature is not necessarily to build a community. That's not my nature. My nature is to lead a rebellion, or like, if you want me in the front lines, like we're going to make something happen. Right. But I'm not like a real community builder. Okay. So that group was just kind of sitting there. And then I look in there, and every other week, who's this bald guy in this group, like hijacking our damn group that we put all these people in, and he's in there every freaking week. And he's like, hey, yeah, doing all the things. I know. Amy, yes, a rebellion is a community with an intention, for sure. But I look at it a little differently, like Facebook community, doing the things that you need to do in today's society to build a group is not my thing. Let me say that. I'm not a Facebook person. I'm not a social media person. Okay, let me put it that way. I'll lead a rebellion, just I won't necessarily use Facebook to do it. Okay. Anyway, here's this guy.
You can relate to Heidi right now.
Here's this guy, and he's like coming in the group, and I'm like, God damn, who is this dude? And it's like, wow, that's his strength. That's his ability. And so we look at all the coaches and we look at all the speakers, and we come to the 100 Millionaire Summit because we say, the right teacher, who has the thing that I need to learn, who has that next teaching or level of understanding for me. And you might not agree with everything that Walter says or that I say, but what is the essence of their nature? What are they great at? And how can you take a note out of their book? How can you read a chapter out of that book and learn from and grow from, and then align that to your personal nature and say, well, who do I most relate to? Where am I feeling resonant? Where is there resonance for me? And that's a very good indicator of the path that you should take.
Oh my God. I am getting chills thinking about the summit. Like, character. Imagine if we just focus on your character and we can get that little piece fixed. We have the access. Who knows? We have access to all the information possible. Yes. We have the greatest mentors. We have the greatest coaches. We have the greatest speakers. We have so much resources with just the internet. We're in the information age. It's character. I'm so thankful. Let's give Heidi a big round of applause. I am so thankful that character is something that Alchemist Nation is now able to take on, thanks to the skills and the years that Heidi's been doing this. Heidi, how long have you been doing this? I know it's been, you're more than 10,000 hours. You're past that.
Yeah, professionally since I was 22, and I am 49.
Whoa, you just gave us your
How long is that? I'm 49.
Guys. 27 years?
49 in January. We're going to have a big party at the summit for the 50th. I can't wait. But I want to say this really quickly, okay? I know we have to go. I'm going, but I want to tell you this. Information is everywhere. And this is something else we're going to talk about at the summit. The right information is important, what you fill your mind with. And who knows, like we get bombarded, you wake up, and I had a conversation with my husband the other day. Like I would wake up to TikTok and I would scroll and be like, this isn't something I was seeking. This information wasn't something I was seeking. Here I'm assaulted by somebody doing something stupid, and here's another assault of somebody else doing something. And I'm told what I'm supposed to input into my mind versus getting quiet and sitting and having contemplation and knowing what is already inside that wants, creation before consumption. Creation before consumption. Inside of you is all this stuff longing to come out, ideas that you have, concepts, directions you want to go in. But we're inundated when we pop open our eyes with what other people want you to think, other people want you to feel, other people want you to believe. So it's really a path to mastery, to self-mastery, making you the CEO of not just your entrepreneurship, but of your life as well.
Oh yeah. This is your chance. This is your opportunity. 2022. I said it many times. There's 365 days in a year, 365 beautiful blessings that you get to wake up every single day where you could change, you could do something, you create opportunities. But if you 80-20 those 365 days, then you 80-20 them again, you 80-20 them again, you know what you end up with? 3 powerful days at the 100 Millionaires Summit, where you focus on improving yourself, getting in connection with the right people, the right mentors, the right coaches, the right leaders, and recognizing character. Now you're aware that you should be looking at the character of the people you're admiring, the people you're modeling. This is a powerful opportunity. If you were at 80-20, the 80-20, the 80-20, you end up at the 100 Millionaire Summit, surrounding yourself with 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. I've invited over 100 coaches, trainers, speakers who will be in the room with you. Some of them have never built a training course, but you know, if you ask them a question, they got answers. Hence, can't you know that's true? Anybody who's made money has answers on how they did it. And then if you ask Heidi questions, which, by the way, Heidi, I have a feeling you're going to get bombarded with questions at the 100 Millionaire Summit. So
I hope so. I hope so.
She's got answers. She's been doing this for 27 years. Hanscam, if you know, when you have a choice, you always work with the best. Absolutely. The best of what they are at that moment. Every day we're all improving. Every day you're improving. Every day we're getting better and better. And one of the things that Heidi said was the book you're reading. And I realized I forgot to mention this week's book of the week. So let's give it up to Michael Shine, the keeper of the books, the holistic attorney. Mike, what is this week's book of the week?
Walter, I just got down to Roatan. I was talking to Mitch in the chat saying, hey, what's the book of the week?
I got it on the screen. Mitch, I got you, brother.
I love having the other coaches in here. I'm a huge fan of Heidi's, and I'm also a huge fan of Doug's. They're amazing. But my brother from another mother is Mitch Jaworski, who in the private chat was helping me out. I'm like, dude, what is the book of the week? Retire Young and Retire Rich by Robert Kiyosaki is an amazing, amazing book. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's another in the series, and it just takes you to a whole nother level because Robert and his wife wouldn't take no for an answer. People told them, go get jobs, do the W-2 thing. And they said no. They said at one point, the two of them were sleeping in their cars and all their friends were like, you're qualified, go get a job. Just go get a job. How many people have heard that? How many people said, you've got a dream? And everybody said, no, give up on your dream. They call it the golden handcuffs. Get that salary. You can do it. And, but I just, every time I look at this book, two things resonate with me. The back of the book, the two of them are riding on horses. I don't know if your cover has that, but on the back, yeah, they're riding on horses on the beach. And it's like, it's just a lesson in don't give up on your dreams and crush it. And it's a great manual for how Robert and his wife did it. And so Retire Young and Retire Rich. It really takes Rich Dad, Poor Dad to a whole nother level. And I highly recommend it. And now that I said it, I'll have to dig it out of my suitcase and read it again. That's what I got for you. Thank you.
Let's give Michael Shine, the keeper of the books, our holistic attorney, a big round of applause. He's the closer from Roatan now. Retire Young, Retire Rich has something really important in it. I wrote it down on the wall when I read this book for the first time. And that sentence was this: if you find me 10 years from now, I will be building businesses and buying real estate. If you ask me 20 years from now what I do to build wealth, I'll say the same thing. I build businesses and I buy real estate. And he said, if you ask my wife what we do to build wealth any day of the week, any year, no matter what the cycles or the market are doing, we're going to say the same thing. We build business and we buy real estate. And this book is all about leverage. That's what he talks about. He talks about people leverage. He talks about emotional leverage. He talks about business leverage. He talks about money leverage. This book, Retire Young, Retire Rich, in my opinion, is his best work of art. I've read Cash Flow. I've read all of his books, but this one, to me, was the one that moved me the most, moved the needle the most in my life, because it made it very clear: build business, buy real estate. You need both. Anybody who's just trying to do real estate is going to hit a wall at some point. Every one of my real estate investors knows exactly what I'm talking about. You hit a wall where cash flow runs out, where you can't buy the next property. And it's like, what do I do? Or you have to over renovate something and you're like, where's the money coming from? You got to build business and buy real estate. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, so for me, my favorite book, I was thinking about when you just said this is of Robert Kiyosaki's, well, the one that hit me was Cash Flow Quadrant. But while I was saying that, I was thinking that at a certain point in my life, Rich Dad, Poor Dad really, really hit. And I really think that every one of his books, if it hits you, like if you're at a certain point in your life, you're a W-2 employee and you're like, you come to Walter and say, I got to get the F out of my job. I am so sick of it. Cash Flow Quadrant is going to resonate with you the most. But if you're beyond that, like where Walter is, and a lot of the coaches are, I agree with you that book, this book, Retire Young, Retire Rich, really resonates. Yeah, it's cool.
That is a great. Thank you, Mike. Let's give Mike one more round of applause. That's actually a really good qualifier, some context to put around the books. Remember who's giving you these books, right? I've read over 400 books. I've been through the bottom. I've been homeless. I've lived in my office. I've done all of those things, but I now live in Florida in a 3,000 square foot house with 6 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and I walk out to palm trees every day. My life has changed. I'm not the same person. All my businesses are back there. So, man, I'm not in Roatan though. So I guess I still got a little bit of room before I get to Zen, before I hit Nirvana.
Always welcome. Always welcome.
I want to open it up to questions. Hands here, if you know you got a great question for Heidi or one of the coaches. Who here knows they got a great question? Something that you'd love to ask. Hands to the camera. Darina, let's bring everybody in from the outside room. Let's bring all the attendees in. So everybody who's on the camera now is people in our mentorship, people who've been through some of our programs, our masterminds, our mastery program, which we offered last year at the summit, which I will be offering something similar. We'll have the same name this year, but mastery is a little more robust, a little more involved. Hence, if you know, we are automating the millionaire building process. We're making it so that anybody can come through if, let me clarify, they have the right character. Now I know what to say this. They have the right character, the right will, and we'll make sure they have the right skills. We'll make sure that they get the other stuff that they need. So mastery now is designed to be a little deeper, a little more involved, not as much time. We've removed some of the time constraints to make it easier to work through, but the skills and the focus are much tighter, because now we know what was fluff before and what was necessary. Hence, care if that's important, that we constantly improve our process. So mastery will be involved this year at the summit. We'll be offering it. It is extremely expensive for those who don't value the skill set to become a millionaire. It is extremely affordable for those who are committed to becoming millionaires in the next 3 to 5 years. Hence, Cameron, if you know, it's up to you, right? The price is a barrier to entry to eliminate the people who are not serious. But for anybody who is serious, we'll figure the money out. We'll find a way to make sure it's available to the people who want to go through. I'm excited about it. I can't wait. I've got a whole presentation that talks about mastery, and I cannot wait to deliver and share how we do it, how it works. Who knows? I'm obsessed. I love building millionaires. I love each and every one of you. I love your commitment to yourself, your commitment to success, your commitment to each other, your commitment to changing the world in whatever way you deem fit, right? We know the people with the money and the fame are the ones who have the power. Those are the people who change the world. And I know that every one of you is a good, decent human being who has a right to be at the table. But the only way to get at the table is to play the game that gets you to that table. And I don't know about you, but I intend to get the money. I intend to make sure that we get the influence. I intend to make sure that this community has a voice at the table. We're going to keep working towards it. Now, it's not hard work. It's good work. We're working with amazing people, right? Look at these coaches. Look at these amazing souls. Look at the leaders in this community who are stepping up, our mentors, people who've gone through, become millionaires, who are stepping up and serving. We're going to make some serious change happen in this world. And it starts with the belief. It starts with first believing that it's possible, understanding what the right change would be, and showing up consistently every day, showing up, doing what it takes. So give yourselves a round of applause. I love it. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your dedication to what we're doing here. And I see that there is somebody with a question. Durbin James, you're up, brother.
Yeah, thanks again for having me. So my question is, how do you kind of get in that flow state and you just have better self-awareness of, are you that lion or are you that sheep? And, how to maximize who you are for becoming that millionaire, for the first
That's
time.
definitely a Heidi question.
Man, Thurman, that's such a good question. I love that so much. So your daily walk has all the answers. It's not like you're going to have this massive epiphany one day where somebody's going to do the thing and you're going to go, ding, oh my God, I'm so aroused. It's revealed daily, but it's in fine nuances of what. So instead of you pulling something, Thurman, something is pulling you. Okay, something is pulling you or something is pushing you. And so what you're talking about is where I say your will and your skill aligns with your personal destiny. And the personal destiny is that ease and flow part. The will and the skill are all the ego parts. That's where we're doing our work and we're working as hard as we can. But the personal destiny is where we incorporate the universe, what your higher power, whatever you call that, into its plan for you. So instead of looking at the universe like a catalog and going, God is here, the universe is here to fulfill 8 billion people's wishes, individual wishes on the planet, it's an idea of more aligned with, I'm here to fulfill that wish for me, the universe's wish for me. And in order to hear the universe's wish for you or your personal destiny, you have to be quiet enough to hear it. So that requires contemplation, that requires observation, that requires you walking through your life and noticing what is pulling you or pushing you. Now, in our modern society, Thurman, we have a problem because we are a patriarchally driven push position where the Western world believes that you need to push and overcome obstacles and crush it, where this kind of Wu Wei, which is an effortless Eastern philosophy way of looking at things, a Taoist philosophy of way of looking at things, is when you are constantly being pushed away from something, it's too hard, it's too difficult, you try to climb, it's the wrong thing. Because life isn't meant to be difficult. An oak tree doesn't struggle to become an oak. An acorn doesn't struggle to become an oak, it just becomes. The strongest and mightiest thing doesn't need to struggle. And so that's the philosophy that we adopt, is what's naturally pulling me, what I do and I enjoy, and I feel ease and flow in, is the path for me. And it's always the path of least resistance. The great masters don't constantly come, they use the path of least resistance. They use the resistance for them. They don't have to constantly overcome and push and push. If you're pushing, you're going to burn out. If you're pushing constantly, you're just not going to last. So it needs to have an element of flow. So what are you naturally drawn to and what are you naturally repelled by? Or what's repelling you and what's drawing you? So it's a daily spiritual walk. It's a cultivation of that warrior practice inside. And are you coming to the summit?
I will be there. I got my
Yay!
hotel booked and everything. I'm
All
gonna
right.
be taking the day off work. I'm gonna be there.
That's great. So I want to hear after the talk. Let's get together. I'd love to sit with you personally and talk a little bit more about that path and recommend some great places to start. But it is it's a beautiful path because it feels like you just wake up and it's effortless. It's not like I have to do this thing. It's like I'm drawn to do this thing. It's pulling me to do this thing. Oh, it's a beautiful way to live.
All right, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Let's give Thurman James a round of applause. Great question. And Heidi, great answer. What else? We got 5 minutes left. We take one more question before we jump off. Hands Cam, if you got a lot of value out of today's principle, out of the answers, out of Heidi. Excellent. Awesome. Drop it
Hey,
down. What question?
Brother Walter, man, I
Eric!
appreciate it, man. Thank you for all that you guys do. All the coaches on Midge, you know, Michael, shouts out to all you guys, man. Glad to have you back. Peace and blessings to you, Mike, man. I'm glad to see you made it there safely. Heidi, powerful stuff, man. You're really insightful and looking forward to seeing you and shaking hands with you as well. You said something that was a powerful quote. Every obstacle is construction of your own mind. Do you have any suggestions or anything as far as exercises or sources that we can use to kind of help develop the mind to be able to counter those obstacles of that way of thinking?
Eric, that is such another enlightened question. That's a beautiful question. So everything that we do has to come from this very first place, which is awareness and observation. So the first thing we do is we become aware that we are thinking our thoughts and what the thoughts are that we are thinking. I had an awakening. I had 2 awakenings for this in my life. And it was because I was tortured by my own thoughts. I had a traumatic past. I would lay in bed at night and start to go to sleep, and the tape would play of the traumas and the anxiety of the should have done it, could have done it, why didn't I do it, or what's to come. And I couldn't sleep at night and I was overcome. And then all of a sudden I had this awakening where I saw myself as I was drifting to sleep, go inside of my own mind, and it was dark, blank, dark hole. There was a nothingness inside of my mind. And then all of a sudden I saw myself pulling these thoughts toward me, and then running the movie screen of the thought in my mind. And I realized in that moment just how much we are creating a play, a screen, a movie of our lives by the thoughts that we think. And I thought, why am I in a horror flick, man? Why am I playing a horror? I don't like horror movies. You know, that's not my thing. So I started to think, okay, I could see myself pulling these thoughts. So that awareness, then I could consciously choose. You're not always aware of the first thought that you think, but with this discipline of awareness of the thoughts you think, you can decide to replace or change that thought automatically. So you have to stay in awareness. Most people don't see because they don't look. Most people don't see because they don't look. You know, it's always there. The thought's always right there. So Eric, take an inventory of your thoughts. And when I see you at the summit, we'll go over those thoughts and we'll eradicate them one by one.
Yeah,
I'll show you the ninja status to be able to eradicate those one by one. Okay.
Thanks. Yes. Thank you.
Beautiful.
I
Thank you,
appreciate
Eric. Love it.
Let's give Eric Flority a round of applause. Great question. And Heidi, a fantastic ninja answer. We got a few minutes left, so I'm just going to thank every one of you for your commitment, your dedication to your success. Again, Wealth Principle 33 has homework that comes with it. Go and do those steps. Do the work. Just reach out, find out what this business is appraised at, what this business could be appraised at, or what it might be appraised, how to appraise. The only thing stopping you from building your business to sell your business is you. It's the decision to do it. Decide. Here's the fear that most people have is that, well, what if I don't have my business such a part of my life? There will be another one. I assure you, if you are one of those people addicted to building businesses, addicted to doing stuff like Melanie Santos, don't you worry. With more money comes more businesses. Hence, Karen, if you know it's true, she can't stop. It's a good thing. And a lot of our people in our community are concerned about, like, well, what would I be? What would I do if I had had my business? I assure you, there will be another opportunity. Something great will come along. You can become a passive investor in other people's businesses, other people's real estate deals. With cash comes opportunity. We can't stay grinding forever. We can't stay hustling and working hard forever. At some point, we do have to shift over, like Heidi said, to this Taoist principle of let the energy now that you've stored up and built go and be used for somebody else who's willing to put out that grind for a little while. Bring on those partners. Make room for your future self. Start visualizing your future self, how you want yourself to be, and recognize that you can't be grinding in this business forever. It doesn't make sense. If it doesn't make sense, then it don't make dollars. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Doug, give us something fun. Give us give us some wisdom. We've been listening to your wife. We love her. Like, what is it like living with Heidi? I mean, it just must be I mean, you're such an enlightened person, so clearly that must be some of the impact, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's
Like multiple personality disorder. I don't know. No, go ahead.
no, not as far as you know, honey. Yeah, living with Heidi is obviously an extraordinary blessing, and I will say, when we look at manifestation and creating and visualizing and going into that flow state, I would say that is how Heidi and I also sort of connected, where there was at the beginning some life resistance just because of where we were, and the desired outcome of connecting and meeting and exploring, like, I never gave up on. She clearly never gave up on. But I guess it's very similar to, creating that millionaire status. It's not about the money. It's about the lifestyle. It's about the creating, how you want to live your life. And, in large part, I can only speak for myself on this, is that I sort of designed that relationship, how I wanted to, live. I wanted a partner that we could share a stage with, that, a strong, independent woman who was, brilliant and insightful and spiritual and all of the things that Heidi is. I created that vision, so to speak, and then attracted it. Once I saw that in Heidi and we started to grow.
It's a real weird science kind of moment.
Yeah.
Like you're Anthony Michael Hall in the scenario. And then, do you remember that movie?
Yeah. I'm just trying to. So, all right. So yeah, I'll share with you. So we could actually go down that path. We could find an analogy there. So I had a good friend of mine, who actually I trained in NLP. She's now she's got to be like 70 something years old. She looks like probably like 40. And she very, strong woman and all that. And I showed a picture of Heidi, and it was actually, I was trying to get her to go skydiving. We hadn't met yet. I was trying to get her to go skydiving. There's a whole other story around that, but I showed her the picture, and Linda goes, yeah, she's too much for you. Like, just her picture, she was like, yeah. And I share that with you because you're going to have people in your world give you the opportunity to give up. They're going to give you that opportunity for a wedge of discouragement, give you an opportunity to question your value and your ability and your place in the world. And obviously I didn't let that, assuage me by any stretch, but I share that with you because, like, that I'm using the real science, the weird science thing is they had that picture and then they put the stuff together and they created, if you remember the movie, we're dating ourselves, honey. How many of y'all know the movie Weird Science? Okay, cool. I just want Derek's like, no, I have no idea what movie.
We already know that Heidi's 27 years old. So
yeah. So anyway, I digress. I just share what you'll get out of the summit as well is not only some brilliant awareness around who you are and what's possible. You'll also gain those other skills. You're going to learn the tactical skills on how to do it, but also the strategic skills on how to manage yourself so that you don't allow that external stuff come in and prevent you from taking that next step, to keep you moving forward, to access that warrior within.
Let's give Doug McGurk a round of applause. I feel like I just got a taste of what's coming from the summit, because I remembered you talking about the wedge of despair at 100 Millionaire Summit last year. It's fantastic. Who remembers that talk? Oh, yeah. Another one of our powerful experiences. I am so excited to be there with each one of you. It's been a long year of hustling in many cases, learning new things, putting ourselves outside of our comfort zone. For anybody who's been doing the recession-proof challenge, you've been way outside of your comfort zone, pushing yourself, doing things you never thought you'd be doing. And for everybody who's just been really just excited, anticipating what's coming at the summit, it is better than you can imagine. It will be totally a deeper experience than you can imagine. The people that we've got in the room, the people we've got on the stage, and then obviously the sound, the sparklers, and the venue, and there is a Taco Bell close by. There's so many great things happening at the 100 Millionaire Summit this year. I can't wait to hang out with you. I'm looking for all the high fives. I'm looking for selfies. Hands can if you commit, taking a selfie with a ton of people at the summit. Oh yeah, we got some powerful alchemists. If you don't have friends who are registered for the summit, now's your chance. Go and get them registered. Go and let them know about it. If you don't, it is not their fault. It is your fault. If you care about their business, their success, getting to the next level, being able to partner with them in the future, if you don't bring them along with you now, it will be much harder later on. The further you grow, the further the gap widens, the more difficult it is to bring people on board. Hands care if you've already seen this in your life, already seen your success as you've gotten further, you kind of had to leave people behind. If you don't give them that rope, if you don't throw the rope back, it is your fault that they didn't have that opportunity. Does that make sense? We understand. And that's one of the commitments I've made while building everything that we're doing here to automate millionaires is we must leave the rope behind. We must leave free options. We must leave very low barrier entry options. We must leave small price point options. And we must also provide the ability for others to bring their friends in. And that's what we're doing with the 100 Millionaire Summit. Each one of you has a spare ticket if you already bought your tickets to the mentorship or you bought your tickets through the VIPs. The VIPs get 5. You're welcome. Bring your team, bring your players, because at this event, and if you're somebody who has people that you want to inspire, bring them too. Bring your investors, because at this event, we're going to be elevating you. And we're going to be talking about you a lot. And so the people who you brought in are going to be looking at you as their opportunity, as their leader, maybe as the person they invest with, because you're the one they know, like, and trust. So make sure that you've premeditated the people that you want to bring to this event. You've been intentional about reaching out and connecting and saying, hey, we could go get drinks. We could go on a vacation together, or we could take a trip to Orlando and build our business together. We could talk about doubling our income, doubling our net worth together. Hence, if you know, there's people out there who really want to hang with you now. Awesome. Cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best. I'll see you next week.
The blessed.
And remember, there's plenty of room at the top. I will see you at the summit. I'm loving this one. Plenty of room. Next week. Cheers. Let's give our coaches one more round of applause. Thank you, Heidi, for all your conversation today, all the tips, advice. Cannot wait to see you in Orlando.